All right, people always ask how we make coffee here at the Roastery for ourselves. And I think sometimes people are surprised when we say we just use this $15 V60 plastic brewer. It's really our favorite way to make coffee. It really allows single origins to shine and get those complex notes. Brings out a lot of the vibrancy and sweetness of a coffee and more acidity. So today I'm gonna brew our Pacamara from Colombia, from Marceli Calderon. It's a wash coffee from Colombia, and we're gonna walk through our V60 recipe. All right, so what I've got with me here is our Hario V60 brewer, the paper filter for it. Any sort of carafe will work. I've got 15 grams of coffee, so this is gonna be a single cup pour over recipe. And then I've got my water. This is distilled water with a third wave water packet added to it. It's about 100 ppm, and it is sitting at 209 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, and then most importantly, I've got a scale with me as well, so we can measure everything we do, make sure it's consistent and what we want it to be. First things first, I'm gonna take my filter and I'm gonna fold this little edge here so that it can sit nicely within the brewer. Make sure that it's flat against the edges there. And then I'm gonna take my water, I'm gonna pour it kind of hard in the center to set the filter. This is gonna help it kind of suction to the walls so that it sets nicely. And the other thing it's gonna do, it's gonna rinse out any of those paper flavors. Okay. The other nice thing about doing that is then it preheats your carafe, especially if it's glass or ceramic. That tends to absorb some of the heat as you're brewing coffee. So if you can preheat it with your water, that's a helpful tool. And then you can also use that same water to preheat your mug. I'll just let that sit in there while we're brewing. All right, I've got my coffee here. Like I said, it's 15 grams, and the grind size on this is medium fine. So just finer than what we would use for a batch brew recipe. All right, I'm gonna weigh it out here just to make sure that I got all 15 grams out of the grinder. Set that aside, and then I'll just kind of shake this to level it out here. All right, so then I'll tare my scale. So now we're at 0. So we're doing a 1 to 16 recipe. So for 15 grams of coffee, I'm gonna be pouring about 240 grams of water. And that'll get us right at a 1 to 16 recipe. It's gonna be kind of a fast brew. One, because this is a lighter roast single origin, so I really wanna bring out those complex notes. And as well as the V60 kind of lends itself to a faster brew. It's conical, it's very steep, so the flow rate is much faster. There's a little bit of bypass with these ridges and then a large opening at the bottom. So the V60 in general just lends itself to a faster brew time, which we are okay with in this scenario. Also, using a smaller dose of 15 grams is gonna be less water, it's gonna be a faster brew. So I've got my water here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bloom the coffee for about 30 seconds. So I'm just making sure that all of the coffee grounds are fully saturated so that they can start to open up, extract. The point here is not necessarily to start the brew, but just to kind of get all the grounds fully saturated and ready for our brew. So I'm gonna start my timer and I'm gonna pour right in the middle until we get to about 50 grams. And I'm gonna let that sit for about 30 seconds. I'm not going to agitate or swirl here. I'm just gonna let everything get a chance to sit with the hot water and open up. The 50 grams is gonna be just enough that everything can be saturated, but we're not getting too much flow down to the bottom yet. All right, so now I'm gonna start my second pour right at 30 seconds. And I'm going to pour to about 150. All right, and now I'm gonna add a gentle swirl, nothing too harsh, but just to make sure that the bed is level everything is extracting evenly. It's also going to help and make sure that the temperature is even throughout. So with the V60, you have a conical brewer, and it's a very steep conical brewer. And so that means the bed depth is going to be different at different levels. So I usually pour more towards the center. I don't really go through the edges too much. Here at 115, I'm going to do my last pour. Like I said, really aiming for the center, not really going to the outside. All right, so 240. And then I'll do one last gentle swirl just to level everything out. And this is what is called our drawdown. So this is our final pass of water. Now everything is just drawing down through the bed of coffee. And we should end up right around 2 minutes and 30 seconds here for this brew, which again is pretty fast, but that's kind of what we're aiming for a small dose V60. We'll continue to let that extract. Everything looks nice and even. So what you hear a lot is to pour in concentric circles, starting from the inside to the outside. However, when you hear that, your instinct is to start in the middle and then really kind of pour around the edges. And then you start pouring on the filter. And what that does is your water is just gonna run right around the bed of the coffee down through the outside of the filter. So you really don't want that. Especially on the V60, you really wanna kind of stay in the middle. Yes, pour in circles, moving slightly outward, but make sure you're not pouring so far to the edge that you're just pouring right around your coffee. All right, so we ended up right around 230 there, and we got a very flat bed of coffee. So I've got my mug here that's been preheating. I'm just gonna pour that water out. And then I'm gonna set this filter on there as well, set that to the side. So now I've got my preheated mug and my final brew. So what I'm gonna do is, the coffee has been brewing at different extraction yields at different times. And so just to kind of make sure that mixes all together, I'm just gonna swirl all of this, make sure it's even and disperse. And then it's ready to drink. And so that's how we make our coffee here at the roastery. It's how we make our coffee most mornings. It's quick and it's easy, and it makes a great cup of coffee. It really does a great job of pulling out the sweetness, the complex notes of each coffee. So give it a try. Let us know what you think, and follow for more.